Hey guys, so today I wanted to do my thoughts for 13 Reasons Why, the TV show. So the first part of this video is going to be spoiler free, and then I'm going to kind of get into some of the more detailed aspects of the show. I don't know if I can actually rate this on a rating scale, so I'm just going to avoid doing so. And I think I should say that I did read the book 13 Reasons Why, but I read it 5 years ago, pretty much to the date. Because it was 5 years ago that I read this book, I have really no memory of what actually happened in the book. I just remember the tapes, and then it was following the main guy. The vacuum has been going on downstairs, so my pup is a little bit nervous, so she may just be kind of wandering around me during this video. So going off, I just have to say I do not think this show is for everyone. Like, by all means, if you are hesitant about watching this show because you have dealt with issues of bullying or you've been raped, I would just say it may be safe to avoid this show, because this show had me very emotionally invested in the characters and what was going on, and I personally have no background with bullying, and I was affected by it, so I couldn't imagine someone who's gone through such a traumatic experience such as bullying having to sit through and watch this being replayed out in the show. I think it would just be a little bit difficult, so keep that in mind, that if you have had cases like that in your past, you may want to be careful watching this. You may not want to watch all the season at one time, maybe just kind of take it in small doses, but that's just my 2 cents on that part. So I think everyone knows kind of the premise for this story, but there is this girl, Hannah Baker. She's a junior in high school and she kills herself, and instead of leaving a suicide note, she leaves 13 tapes behind. Each side of the tape has a different person who it's for, and it's because that person has somehow led her to committing suicide. So they all somehow played a role in her wanting to kill herself. It's definitely a dark topic, and I think it opens up a little bit more innocently. As the show progresses and as the episodes go on, you see how much deeper and darker this bullying actually is, and how it's not just one person, it's this whole entire system in this school. Unrelated to the plot or anything like that, but I really loved the music that was in the show. I really especially loved the song that was in, I don't know, it was like somewhere in the middle of the show at the school dance. There was that song that played quite a few times. I think it's called The Night We Met. That song is just so beautiful, and I know they played it over and over again in the show, but I still really liked it, and I've definitely listened to it since watching the show. And something about the music just had a certain type of melancholy to it, which I think fit really well with the show itself. So going into my spoiler-full side of this video, please do not watch if you have not yet watched this show. Okay, so like I said, I read this book 5 years ago, and I thought that there was a rape scene, but I didn't entirely remember when or who was involved or what. So this entire show was kind of a shock for me, especially when I found out it was Jessica and she was unconscious and it was Bryce. I mean, everything about those last few episodes was so messed up. So I was trying to think of who my least favorite character was in this show, because let me tell you, no characters are clear or free of guilt. All these characters kind of suck in some way or another, but I have to say, when we found out about the guidance counselor and the meeting that he had with Hannah on the day she died, I just took such a strong dislike for him. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of him at all in the beginning of the show, but after he had that conversation with Hannah, she basically told him, in other words, that she was thinking of ending her life, and he didn't report it or do anything about it. And then he was trying to tell her that the rape didn't actually happen, that maybe it wasn't rape, that she should just get over it. I could not stand that man and what he said. And it seemed like Hannah had already made up her mind that she was going to kill herself. But honestly, if that counselor had actually done something, this whole story could have ended differently. Hannah could have gotten the help that she needed. They could have revealed Bryce for the monster that he truly was. I just absolutely hated that counselor. And something with the ending of this show, it's left very open-ended, and like I said, I don't remember the ending to the book. I don't really remember the book at all. So I don't know if they're setting it up for a second season, or we're just kind of led to believe that Bryce is going to be getting some jail time after this, because the parents have the tapes now. The kids are starting to tell the truth in their depositions, so it only leads me to think that Bryce is going to get in trouble for all the wrong that he's caused. Jessica, we know, is going to talk to her dad, and he is not the type of dad who is just going to let this go by the wayside. I think he's going to go after Bryce with all he's got. Clay was by far my favorite character, which I don't know if everyone else felt this way, because I haven't watched any reviews yet. I wanted to post this video and then go and look at what everyone else thought. I remember watching the first few episodes and I was thinking, wow, they really cast this very flat character. I wondered how he was going to be a part of getting this whole story going, so I was a little bit surprised that he was just such of a meh character for me. But episode by episode, we see Clay transform from this flat character into this dynamic character who, I don't know, I had complete respect for, even though I think he made some bad decisions. Like taking the picture of Tyler, I think was completely unnecessary. Clay became the bully in that moment. I know he was trying to get justice, but he was actually becoming the bully that they were trying to stop. So I don't understand how him doing that was making anything better. It was just perpetuating that whole system of bullying. But at the end, I think Clay really got it. He really got that what Hannah was all about and what he was supposed to do. He was done trying to incriminate all these other people. He wasn't keying other people's cars anymore. I think he made the right decision in giving the tapes to the counselor and then kind of just like letting it be and going after Sky in that final scene. Honestly, Clay's acting too just blew me away. I felt how tormented Clay was as each episode got more and more intense. Like, it was such a slow progression, but it was done so well. Like, by the middle to end ones, Clay is just coming apart. And what's also so sad about this was that although Clay was one of the better guys, you couldn't call him a good guy, but he kind of was a good guy in the show, I guess, he still had major shortcomings. And if he had just gone after Hannah, if he had just made a tiny difference, she possibly could still be alive, and it could have been as Hannah was imagining that night when her and Clay finally kind of got together. I also really didn't like Clay's mom. I know I mentioned the counselor, but Clay's mom also was one I just like did not like at all. I mean, pretty much from the beginning of the show, and then especially at the end when it was coming up and she was just on the prosecution side for this whole case, I just thought, oh girl, I don't support you. I can't believe you're Clay's mother and you're doing this. I could probably ramble more, but I'm gonna leave it here. So let's talk in the comments about what you thought of this show, if you loved it, if you hated it, or some of your favorite parts and least favorite parts of this show. Thank you for watching and happy reading.
You in the middle? Yeah.
Leia, come on.
I was gonna ask you where Bobby was.
You don't have a bucket. How cute is this little puppy?